Om Lokaha Samastaha Suki no Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and peaceful. Happy Monday, everyone. It is Phoenix here. I have a few announcements before I get started looking at the charts. And we're going to talk about exactly how smart money has been manipulating the markets and exactly how they're planning to steal your money if you're not careful. Those of you that are bag holders, so this website right here, this is Heaven on Earth. This is a retreat that I've been a part of. I've been fortunate to be one of the facilitators. I helped to host the Maui retreat, and we're actually doing one in Costa Rica from July 30th to August 6th. I'm very excited about this because this is a very special place in Nosara where I've hosted retreats. Hey, that's me right there in the video. So this is going to be really epic retreat in Costa Rica, and you can visit the website to learn more. Bodhi Tree is such a spectacular center. It's literally it's gorgeous, and you can tour the whole center here. And I'm gonna have a special discount for you all. There's gonna be yoga meditation. You can go surfing with me. There's gonna be amazing, delicious organic food. Beautiful women. Did I say that? Beautiful women, gorgeous women, and conscious women too. And it's going to be a nice break. And also, I'm going to be teaching there about some financial alchemy, but also some metaphysics and guiding some meditation. So really excited. One of my favorite spots on the planet. Such a peaceful area. Costa Rica, I can't say enough good about this country. And you can do a nice tour here. So check it out, and I will get that discount code over to you all in a bit. So aside from that, of course, there's always my courses for those of you that are wanting to really hone in your trading skills. Now, let's get into the charts. Hi, Abdo. How's it going? Let me actually adjust the chart, the live chat here so I can see you guys. Okay, so what's going on? One thing that I want to show you before I forget is this M2 chart here, which is very interesting right now because this is very clearly it's sort of an aberration in this. So the M2 is a total money supply if you include savings, checking accounts, CDs, and so on. And the money supply has been shrinking. And usually when the money supply shrinks, they stop hiking the rates. And yet they haven't been doing that. And the last time this happened was actually the initiation of the Great Depression. Okay, so not such good news there. That was in 1931. So we have the same sort of situation on our hands right now. And the question is, why would they want to do this? Well, this might sound a little bit of a conspiracy theory to some of you. Some of you, it's common knowledge, but it is the planned destruction of the economy, okay? It is the planned destruction of most, or if not all, fiat currencies. And this is going to have a dramatic effect on cryptocurrency, okay? This is from a macro perspective, and I'm not a macroeconomist, but from a macro perspective, this is giving us some context for the price action that I'm going to explain here in a moment, okay? This is not good. This is worse than a recession. If they continue to hike rates up and they continue to talk about inflation in the way that they have been, this is not going to be good for us. Why would they want to suck money out of the economy? Why would they want to make millions of people lose their jobs? Why would they want to make us poor? Well, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Okay, this is the agenda. This is the WEF. This is playing out in plain day. Okay, so this is the beginning of this agenda. And so we have to be aware of this with cryptocurrency. So I want to give you this context to explain to you why we've seen this pump here and what I think is going to happen next, okay? So this is very foreboding here with Bitcoin. If you look on the monthly chart, you will notice that we had a doji candle in February, okay? It looks almost like a cross, doesn't it? It looks like maybe there's a martyr on the cross. Who's the martyr on the cross, okay? It's dumb money, okay? Because here we are at the top, tippity top of this range here. And most people, after seeing this candle, this monthly candle in January, thinking it's going to go onward and upward forever. But wait a minute. We have the chart that I just showed you. We have the Fed's stance. They have not pivoted, okay? And we have, what did we have this month? We had a retracement back up, back above the January highs. Okay. Swing failed that. So what does this pattern look like? If you saw this in a clear blue sky, this is an evening star formation. Okay. So if we get a monthly close anywhere below even $23,000, that's an evening star formation. So what is the price action that we can expect to see coming from this next? More downside. Okay. Now, the big question is, many people have been saying, well, there's so much money rotating into alts. Okay, but this is an optical illusion. Well, it's not an optical illusion, but it's part of the play, right? Why would they want to rotate so much money into altcoins? Why would the VCs and the hedge fund managers, why would they be shilling all these altcoins during this pump? Okay, to drive the prices up as far as possible. Why would they want to maintain the price at these elevated levels at the top of this range for as long as humanly possible? Okay, to drive the price of the alts up as much as possible. Okay, you need to understand, and I know that some of you are listening very intently to this, and I know that some of you think I'm full of it. I don't really care. Okay, you need to understand how VCs operate. Okay, we are in a market. We have a $1 trillion market cap. Okay, it's less than $1 trillion. The entire asset class, all of cryptocurrency. Okay, a couple months ago it was about $775 billion. The stock market is more than 39 times the market cap of all of cryptocurrency. Okay, 39 times. Okay, what does that mean? In plain English, it basically means that, first of all, any VCs that are involved in this, smart money, they've been around the block. They know how this works. And the thinner the liquidity, the easier it is to manipulate the market. The easier it is to drive the price up and to have a God candle like this in January, okay? They did this for a very specific reason, okay? This is to sucker retailers, to get them in, to get them invested, okay? And then to slowly, to keep the price up, to continue to delude them into believing that the price is going to continue to go up forever, and then to crush the price back down again, slowly, steadily, and to do it in such a way that you forget what's actually happening, okay? And so that's what we've been seeing here. If we break this down, we see the price, and it looks like it's very much range bound. But now if we look and we bring in the levels, and we start to really hone in and see this from a new perspective, okay, what's happening here with Bitcoin? Okay, many people are saying, well, look, it's an ascending channel. It's still bullish, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, this is very dangerous thinking, because this is what people were thinking back when Bitcoin surged to, what was it, 45 or 48K, okay? Just before the big drawdown, okay? Down to 30K, then down to 20K, then down to 15K, okay? Now here we are, and everybody's just looking at this nice smiley face right here, okay? But this is not what we need to be focused on. What you need to focus on is all of this, okay? This range. Now, assuming that this is accumulation, we are now at the top, okay? We are now at just above, or we just retested after the automatic reaction, after the selling capitulation, okay? Now, where's the next secondary test? It hasn't happened yet. Where's it going to happen? Likely somewhere down at or below $18,600. And in the meantime, what's going to happen to all of the alts that just had insane rallies? Those of you that are bag holders that are paying attention to this video, what would I do in this situation? I can't give financial advice. Of course, it's a bunch of BS, but I'm not supposed to give financial advice, right? But for me, if I had a bunch of alts and I bought in early December and I managed to have insane exponential gains on those alts, would I be buying more right now, or would I be selling the alts, given the macro context? And if we look at the alts from a macro perspective, from a monthly perspective, where are they? Just look at them from a monthly perspective. Where's Lido? Way up near the top of this range. Where's Litecoin? Way up near the top. Another potential evening star, okay, for Litecoin. Injective protocol, okay, near the top, okay? So we're up near the top of the range. This is it. You'd be insane to be buying spot at these levels, considering Bitcoin and Ethereum are starting to teeter, okay? And you might be thinking, well, it's 1565 for ETH. That's not so bad. But a couple weeks ago, remember, week and a half ago, it was 16, it was 1700. It's slowly being chipped away at, okay? And what happens? There's always some uncertainty in these moments because people think, well, look, the prices, we've been range bound for the last, feels like a week now. Okay. And they're just kind of running the stops in either direction. No big moves. We have a contraction period. This is the pause. This is the calm before the storm. And when is the storm? The storm is probably tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. my time. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what is going to happen during that time? Well, 𝐤𝐻 is going to give a speech to Congress. And it's not really all that important, but it is because the markets think that it is. And so he's likely going to say what he's been saying, okay? And that they're going to continue tightening, okay? But we need to be prepared, obviously, for all potential outcomes. But if you look at this chart, does this look bullish or bearish to you? Given the existing momentum, given that we've been headed toward the downside, okay? Given this candle right here, this was not a 4H candle. This was actually a 1H candle. This happened in an hour, okay? So all these gains here were erased in an hour. This is the biggest candle, the biggest red candle of this entire run since the beginning of the year, okay? And since then, has the price been able to push back up again? No, it's tried several times and failed, okay? So failed breakout attempts. It hasn't broken down either. So that's potentially in favor of the bulls, but we are beneath this monthly open and we're hovering at the weekly open. Okay, so as long as alt stay below the monthly open, as long as Bitcoin and Ethereum stay below the monthly open, maybe they come back and retest. Maybe tomorrow when all the smart money pulls out just to sit back and wait and see what retail is going to do, maybe they will push the price effectively back up to 1600 area. Okay, now let's actually bring in the levels so that I'm not looking at this blindly. But this diagonal I mentioned at the breakdown of this and beneath the monthly, of course it happened very quickly, but this was a short trigger for me. Okay, but look, it could come back up to retest that. It could come back up and test the monthly first, and if we see a strong reaction here, guess what? Short trigger. Okay, could come up a little bit higher. Probably not. I don't think that it will. Maybe it will. Most likely won't. That's not the probabilities that we're seeing here. And I'm also going to share with you a little bit from the Dixie and the SPY. But another short trigger here. Again, this could happen very quickly. So it's not like it's going to, maybe it's a 5-minute candle. That's how it's been. Okay, so you have to look on the lower time frames. Maybe it's a 15-minute candle. Maybe it happens over the course of several hours. But you have to be careful in these situations because especially when you have anything around 𝐤𝐻, that's one thing that I've learned the hard way. The last time that he spoke, what happened? Let's look and see what happened. Let's see if we can find that actually. It's kind of like find a needle in a haystack, but there was a lot. I'd have to see it on the lower time frames. There was a lot of volatility. It went up, it went down, then it went back up, and it sort of hovered for a while before the actual breakout. So that's most likely what's going to happen. So we're going to probably go up and down tomorrow early in the morning, and then we'll have some clarity closer to the close, okay? And watching what stocks do. But it could be, honestly, that there's no bounce. It could be no bounce and at all, okay? And this, I wouldn't even really consider this a bounce. I would consider that a temporary spike. So when I think of this possibility, I'm thinking this could happen in an hour. Could happen in an hour or two, okay? Or it could just fall right through the floor, okay? And that would be a continuation, obviously, and the alts would continue to crater from here. But let's actually look at Bitcoin for a moment and see how would you actually identify a trade setup in this situation. For me personally, I'm going to share this with you. This is what I'm looking at. When I see, so I have some levels here that I've set. I need to turn this log off, and I actually need to turn these monthly levels off. I have this tiny little hobbit range that we're working with. Look at this. It's crap, right? Here's the top of the range, 22,460. Here's the bottom of the range, 22,300. Okay, and we have some deviations in either direction. But I've got alerts set more towards the extremities. So actually on Bitcoin, I don't, because I'm not interested in trading Bitcoin. I'd rather trade Ethereum than Bitcoin, because I believe that Ethereum is going to, in the case of, I guess in the case of if I were taking a long, yeah, either way, I would take Ethereum, either to the upside or to the downside, because I believe that Ethereum is going to react more violently. And there's some FUD starting to come out around that. I'm not paying too much attention to the narratives around this, but so we're looking for a breakout. We're looking for a strong momentum move. And this is where you're not going to catch this on the 4H. You're not going to catch this on the 1H. You're only going to be able to see this kind of action on the 5 or 15 minute. And so I usually wait for the 15 minute for some confirmation, but the 5 minute, if there's a really strong spike up and there's some follow through on that, we don't get a big rejection wick and it continues moving in that direction. It needs to continue moving in that direction. So what we saw here, this was a 5 minute, 15 minute, actually most of this was a 5 minute move, if I remember correctly. And then it spiked up and then rejected, okay? Not a lot of strength here. So most likely coming back down, didn't revisit the bottom of the range, but came close to it. Okay, so that's not a breakout. How do you identify the breakouts? Let's actually go back. Here's another one, okay? Another attempt here. Kind of broke out, looked like maybe, but it couldn't clear this wick here. So that was a sign. Couldn't clear the wick on the second 15-minute candle. And then we have some hesitation. It sort of consolidates, not really sure what it's going to do next, and then breaks down from this range. Now, if you were on the 5 minute, you could actually catch this. So I'm giving you some scalping strategies because this is what you need if you're waiting for confirmation and you're waiting to get that precise entry. And this can be very beneficial because for me personally, I will size up. I will really size up when I feel there's conviction and I get the momentum, and it can move in an hour. I could be in some pretty insane profit. Of course, there's the risk that it moves against you, but as soon as it begins to move either to the upside or the downside, and you have that confirmation, that follow through. See here, there was no follow through. There was a massive green candle on the 5 minute, but then that was followed by this one. Okay, so that's a sign. So patience here, and you could have avoided trying to go long here and getting stopped out or having to exit the trade early. And you see this candle here brought us right back into the range, okay? Straight back down again. So these pushes up are being rejected. Of course, we've also had several attempts at breaking the jackhammers, breaking down through the floor here, but those have also been rejected, but not as quickly. If you notice, if you pay attention, not as quickly. It actually took longer for it to push up in these instances. And here you can see some stop runs here. This was kind of strange price action here, but we're just getting into the nitty gritty because this is really important, because a lot of the big moves that happen, you'll be able to identify them if you go back on the 5, the 15 minute, and you go back as far as you can and you see, like for instance, when we had, of course, this was a 15-minute candle. This was the breakdown here. And many people missed that move, of course, because, well, first of all, this is where setting the alerts. Here's a critical level for me. I had an alert set here. I was doing something else on my computer, and then it crossed over, and now I'm paying attention. Okay, so the 5 minute candle, notice the size of the candle relative to the other candles that precede it. Okay, so notice all these candles here, much, much smaller. This is 3 to 4 times the size, even more, of most of the majority of these candles in this entire little crab range. So that was your first sign. And then the question is there follow through? And so you can even go down to the 3 minute or the 1 minute at this point and look and see, okay, we had another candle here. Okay, so this would have been an entry for me on Bitcoin, but I was focused on Ethereum. This would have been an entry. And you might be thinking, well, it already went down so far, but no, the momentum is going to continue in that direction because it's so strong. It has so much force behind it, where here, look at these tiny little candles here. So even an entry here and a tighter stop, for me, I might use a 0.75 or a 1% stop here. And then it goes all the way down. This is for me, that's like a 5R trade, and that happened in a matter of, this was 10 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20. In 20 minutes, I've got a 5R trade. Okay, so that's a big deal. That's why this is worth paying attention to, learning how to scalp. I mean, I'm a swing trader, don't get me wrong. I like to follow trends, but I also understand that in this market, this is how smart money's playing right now because they can, because they've got billions of dollars and we don't even know who these people are. Some of them are whales that have been, they're old timers, they've been doing this for a while. And some of them, I hate to say it, could be governments, could be the people that that are running the world. Okay, would it really be all that unusual to you, considering that they've been printing money for so long? They just print money and buy Bitcoin with it. Okay, and here these are the moves that we're seeing. This isn't retail pushing the price, but if you can get in on this, you can follow it, you can track it, become like a barnacle on the whale, and you can actually make some money at this. Otherwise, you're kind of guessing. You're kind of guessing in here. Maybe you get a little bit here, you get a little bit there, but you're trying to catch those big moves. You're trying to really ride it down or up if it's headed that way. Okay. So I don't know if that's helpful for you, but I'm just sort of channeling what I feel is most helpful right now. So let's look at a few alts and we will see what's going on here. Again, I mentioned that a lot of these are, notice Lido here. Many people are saying, well, look, it's come back down. It's retested this diagonal. It's bounced off. It's finding support again. It's going to push up even higher. Okay. Let's look at total first. Let's look at total. Okay. So total actually kind of did the same thing, but it actually broke down from this diagonal. This is the total crypto market cap. Okay. So we ran up almost near the top, ran this gap here, and almost capped these highs here. And then it came down, broke down below the diagonal. Hasn't even come back to retest it. It hasn't even come back to retest it. It could come back up. It could come back up in this 1.015 and then reject from here. But this is a sign for me. This is where I'm looking to short the alts. When I see something like this, this is a sign of weakness in this strong uptrend. Okay, it's not necessarily confirmation. Confirmation would be something like this, okay, and the rejection, okay, but you see the dojis here, you see the uncertainty. After a strong move down, the momentum is likely to continue in that direction. So that's the framework that I have around a lot of these alts right now. And so Injective is one that has really it's been showing relative weakness after weeks of relative strength. Okay, months even. And now it's looking like it wants to head back down at minimum to the top of this range, which would be 281. And then we're looking at the mid of this range here, okay, which is $1.93. Would it surprise you? Would it surprise you if the altcoins round trip back to the yearly open? Would it surprise you? I mean, considering what we've seen so far. Look at the Dixie right now, okay? The Dixie's actually in a pullback. And it could continue, but what happens? What happens tomorrow if Jay Powell does his little thing and does a little dance, and then all of a sudden it goes back up again? Okay, what's going to happen to crypto? What's going to happen to stocks? Stocks, we saw a nice little, a big pump, right? Meta pump like crazy the other day. It's making some devil horns right now, okay? Because they announced that they were going to sell VR headsets they were going to slash the price. What does that mean? I mean, people aren't even thinking straight. They're not even thinking straight. The S&P started pumping again, but notice what happened at the end. Notice what happened leading into the close for the S&P 500. Okay, it rejected. It retested this range low here and rejected. Look at that wick. Okay, so maybe it pushes up again tomorrow morning, early in the morning. Maybe we get that initial impulse and then it gets slammed back down again. But this does not look bullish. It looks like it's come back. We have a bounce here. We have a dead cat bounce after this strong run up. And it's likely, in all probability, headed back down at minimum down here and then down here. I am of the opinion that the S&P could actually put in new lows this year, okay? So that would mean it would have to come back down below this 356 level, okay? So stocks had some strong, they've had several attempts to push back up again. Look at Tesla. Look at where this is, okay? Look at this range here, this deviation above this range, back inside the range. Does Tesla look like it wants to go up or down? I mean, it could continue to rocket up. This is where most of retail is pouring their money into right now. They've been pouring their money into Tesla and Meta and Apple, because those are the stocks they know, and they're thinking, well, no matter what, they're going to be successful. But that's not the case. Okay, this is a distorted reality, and we've seen the money supply is decreasing, and we see inflation. We see that, of course, they're going to fudge the numbers. They're always going to fudge the numbers. They change the way that they measure CPI. Okay, so they're measuring it they're comparing it to just last year, whereas before they were comparing it to 2 years, kind of the average of the two. So that's obviously going to make CPI look lower, but it's not going to change the reality that prices of everything are skyrocketing. And people are going to get wise to this, and they're going to realize, hey, you know what? They're saying CPI is coming down, but I'm paying more for gas. I'm paying more for food. I'm paying more for rent. So the reality is going to hit. The question, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'm telling you that it's happening right before our eyes, and it's going to happen in the coming weeks. Okay. And so you need to prepare for this. And I know I can actually speak this way because I don't have thousands and thousands of people watching this. There's sort of a small contingent of people that want to hear these truths. And I commend you for showing up and listening. And I really feel like I need to be issuing this warning right now, because this is it right here. We're seeing it happen right now. Okay. So, I mean, if you look at this, where could Ethereum go realistically? We're going to look at Ethereum and Bitcoin and see how far down they could go. I said that a lot of these alts will at minimum come down to the mid of their previous ranges. Okay. Now that's a long ways down. So for Lido, for instance, I've had a short running on Lido. I've kind of been in and out of it, but I'm actually setting up for a swing position here. Now for me, my strategy is when I do a swing short, I'm looking at maybe a 20% stop, because I know that Lido can pump like mad. I know also that it can drop like crazy, but it's actually, that would be bring us down here to this level here. This would be the first level here. That's a 32% move for Lido. Definitely think it's going to happen. Okay. I think there's a high probability of that. And then we're looking at down here. That's a 66% move. Okay. So this is actually a 3.4R trade, even with a 19.4% stop on Lido. Okay. So there's one strategy to wait for confirmation. There's another strategy to actually be sort of preemptive, let it bounce if it wants to, have a looser stop. And then you're not stressing about every single move, and you're not losing sleep over it. Trust me, I've been there. Okay. So same for Litecoin. I mean, Litecoin definitely looks like, I mean, if you look here at this range, it just rejected from the range. So it rejected once, rejected twice, came up, tried to retest a third time, didn't quite make it. Does this look like strength to you? Litecoin is the canary in the coal mine. It's telling us what the rest of the alts are likely going to do. Okay, so it's breaking down from this range. This is not bullish to me from a technical perspective. Okay, it's probably going to come back down. Here's our targets, right? 74.15, and then we've got the mid of this range here, which is 60.79, and then 47.69. Okay, so all of these are very similar in how they're playing out. We have the bulk of the price action here. This is our value area, and then we have this massive deviation. Okay, Matic, you could do the same thing. DYDX, it's the same. It's no different. And it's just a matter of which alts. What happened to my chart here? Oh, there it is. Okay. And it's just a matter of which ones you want to milk. It's which ones do you want to really, take advantage. Which ones do you think are going to fall harder? That's really what it comes down to. So for me, that's why I'm focused on Lido. That's why I'm focused on Injective. That's why I'm focused on DYDX. The DYDX, I was shorting it from up here. You always, my Achilles heel as of late has been getting out of these trades too early, because I literally was shorting the top of this 318. I was giving these triggers in the C3 group. At 318, I was taking shorts up here, and I got out somewhere. I don't know where it was, but it's still going, and it hasn't even bounced, where before it was just, it kept pushing up. Now there's just no strength left in it. What is that a sign of? If that's happening with this altcoin and you're seeing that with other altcoins, what do you think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to do? The VCs have pulled out now, okay? Smart money pulled out up here. They pushed it up a few times. This is a distribution. They can't do it all at once. They can't do it all at once because they'll just immediately crash the price down and they've got too much to sell, okay? Don't let them take your money, folks. Get ahead of them, you know? Like this is what we don't want, you know? I don't want to hear, like, you don't want to pay any attention to Raoul Pal and Chamath and all the others, you know, the other idiots out there that are just here to take your money. Like that's how the game works. And so, you know, you either understand or you don't. And that's all there is to it. So I think that's a lot of information, I know, to digest, but it's just a reality check. And I know that it hasn't been it's not going to make me popular on Twitter or on YouTube, but it doesn't really matter to me because I'm here to make money just like you guys are. And that this has actually helped me tremendously throughout this entire bear market, just having this framework. I want the bear market to end just like you all do. I want the price to rocket back up again, but we've got so much on the horizon. I mean, there's nothing really stopping. We could say this is accumulation. Many people are saying, well, now we're in accumulation. I think it's obvious, but at the same time, like there's nothing really stopping Bitcoin from plummeting. You know, I'm saying, well, it could spring off this 13 or 14K level and then get back inside. That would actually be ideal if it did that, but it could continue south. We could have a massive geopolitical conflict, which we already do, and it could go down 12K, could go to 10K, could go sub 10K. And you have to be prepared for that. And how do you prepare? You set your alerts, you watch, you follow the momentum. You don't resist, okay? If you think that it's going to go down and it starts moving up, you change your bias quickly, you pivot, you admit when you're wrong, you stay humble. You tune out all the noise, trust no one, listen to other perspectives. You don't even trust me, just analyze it for yourself, okay? Analyze it for yourself and see how it feels for you. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then just discard it, okay? Because there's a lot of people out there and they're talking so much smack and they don't know what they're talking about. There's a difference between a trader and an analyst, okay? A trader actually puts their money where their mouth is. An analyst, you know, I saw one famous analyst the other day talking about, you know, a morning star formation on the daily for Bitcoin. I'm like, well, we're 3 hours into this daily candle and you're calling this a possible, you know, it's going to be a massive green candle, right? But we're 4 hours into the candle. How can you even say that? How can you're just putting out this possibility. There's maybe a 25% chance that it's going to happen. And lo and behold, it didn't even happen. So just be prepared for all possible outcomes. This is a sign that there's going to be another strong move, and this is going to be an opportunity for us to take a big trade, to size up and maybe ride it down. And I think that it's going to go much further. So Ethereum targets, well, we're on Bitcoin right now. So for Bitcoin, targets would be what? 21,375 initial target, and then we have 18,600. Probably somewhere in the middle here, around 20K would be another target for Bitcoin. And then always keeping some of my position open, 25%. This is something that I really have to put into practice more, just in case it really falls through the floor. Getting stopped out in the last 25%. If it goes up, no big deal. If it goes down, great, you continue to profit, okay? So Ethereum, my targets for Ethereum would be, I probably wouldn't even take profits at 1,500, to be honest with you, because I think that if there's a really momentous move to the downside, then it's going to just break straight through this, okay? The mid of the January range was around 1,430. So that could be the first take profit level. And then I'm looking at this weekly level here, this 1,280. 1,280 would be a good profit taking level here. It hasn't come back down. It hasn't come back down to retest this $1,000 level yet. Whereas Bitcoin did that already. So Ethereum, that's why I'm saying, could go down a lot further. Okay, that would be for sort of a swing play. But as soon as the momentum starts to shift and it starts to move in the opposite direction, then you have to be prepared to take profits. You have to be prepared to exit your positions and not be stubborn and not hold on, because there's a lot of trickery in this market, much more so than in the stock markets. I trade both, and I'm telling you, this is harder to trade, but it's also more lucrative if you know what you're doing and you can make precise entries. So this is not showing a sign that it wants to really push up. If it does, maybe to here. Okay, it's not showing a sign of strength after this. Okay, so I'm leaning towards more downside. It could happen today, it could happen tomorrow. Be prepared. Sometimes it happens for me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's really annoying, and I have to get out of bed, and I don't like it. That's one of the aspects of trading that I'm not really fond of, because for me, my hours are very different than many of you. But that's just the way it goes. So let's see. What do we got in the comments? Anybody commenting today? I'm in 40%. If I was, all right. My friends have asked me this, and I give them answers and they don't listen to me. And so I stopped giving them advice. Like literally. But I'm gonna say, just for me, like, okay, hypothetically, if I had any alts, if I had alts right now, I would have sold them 2 weeks ago. Okay, I would have sold them a week ago. I would be selling them now. And I would be waiting to re-enter, and I would not be attached. I would not be emotionally attached. And if I'm not convinced, if I wasn't convinced that it was going to go down, then I would at least sell half. And that way I can do the DCA thing that everybody raves about, and I can, I could try and catch it lower and maybe average somewhere. But for me, I just feel like where we're at, it's like longing into resistance. It's not really a good idea. Trying to hold out for higher prices is not really a good idea considering the macro context. I'm not expecting, I mean, who knows what could happen tomorrow, what he's going to say, but I don't think much is going to change with his comments to Congress. It's pretty much just a summary of what they've already been doing. So I would be selling alts here. Yeah, I would be. And even if they're down 15, 20% from where they were a few days ago, because I think there could go down 40, 60, 100% in the coming weeks. So that's for me. A lot of these alts are going to tank, a lot of them. I was hoping that, like, I have Illuvium. I had a bunch that was locked up for like 2 years. And like it unlocks in like 2 weeks. And I know, like, if I could, for the last 3 weeks, I've been like, man, I wish I could sell this. But where is it? It's not even on this list anymore. I'm trying to find it, see what the price of it is right now. It's 81.40. It was like $40 a couple months ago. But look at this. I mean, oh yeah, I would sell this here, but I can't. I have to wait like 2 more weeks. And by then it's probably be back down to like $50. And let's just see, because I just, it is what it is. I couldn't time that one. But a lot of these alts, especially the lower the market cap, the more they're going to tank. But even Optimism, even DYDX and Lido, like Lido, I think that one's probably going to get hit harder because of the whole unstaking FUD that's going around right now. And Lido is just really like, the more irrational they are, it's just like a child. The more energetic and the crazier they get, the harder they crash. This one was nuts. It was nuts. I didn't even look at it. I didn't touch it. It's crazy. And now look at it. I don't really play the patterns, but this is a triple top here, and it broke the neckline. Has kind of retested, here. That's a breakdown. But of course, you could draw your diagonal and be like, nope, it's still in an uptrend. That's fine. Wait for it to break down then. Wait for it to do this. And there's your entry. Okay. But these are going to go a lot lower. And this is classic. These are classic moves. You see it in every chart. You'll see it in the stock market. You'll see it in all the indices, and you'll see it in cryptocurrency. It's nothing new. It's just that we're becoming acquainted with these patterns. Okay. And I don't care about head and shoulders. I don't care about ascending triangles. That's not what we focus on as price action traders. We're just like, okay, did it hit the level? Did it swing fail the level? Did it come above and then get back inside? That's all you really need to focus on here. Okay. It did it here twice. It happened twice. So who in their right mind is going to think that this is going to happen? I mean, this triple top. Who thinks this is going to come back up and just do that? I mean, it always could, but given, if you're just focused on this chart, and that's the problem, is they have tunnel vision, and they're only focused on one chart. They're thinking, well, Lido, it doesn't matter. Forget about the rest of the market. It doesn't matter. But it does. It absolutely does. Ethereum matters. What happens every time Ethereum sells off? What happens to the alts? They don't. Even a few dollars, notice a difference. Just track them for a few days. Sort of the correlation. I don't know if there's an ETH Lido chart or anything like that, but just track the correlation and you'll notice. So if Ethereum is getting ready to massively sell off, then those alts are going to sell off 2-3 times as much. Okay. So that's why you have to be really, really careful. And that's why I always say, when I was starting out, I focused mostly on Bitcoin, Ethereum. And of course, we didn't have as much then, but Bitcoin, Ethereum they have the most liquidity. They have the most money in them. And even those can whipsaw around on these 5-minute candles. You won't see this in the stock market anymore. On some charts, you'll see it, but those are the ones that don't have very high market caps. So if we just look at this just for a moment here, this is some serious alpha, folks. Like, I don't know. I did not get this from other traders because they don't share it. Okay. But look at this. See this candle on Ethereum? This was probably, I don't know what happened on this date, February 23rd. This might have been when CPI or something. I don't remember. But notice this candle and this momentum, and it just completely cleared this level. And then it did come back and retest, but this was your sign. This was an early sign. Now, I wouldn't have necessarily gotten in here, but you wait and you see the retest and you see it slowly pushing back up again. That's showing that it doesn't want to break down. So let's say you entered here, you took a long position there, just off of that one 15-minute candle and then the continued relative strength. Okay, well, we're looking at, and for me personally, I'd be putting my stop somewhere, probably a 1% stop. Okay, and I'd just be riding this all the way up. That was an 11R trade. Okay, I think I missed that actually. I missed that trade, but this was an 11R trade. Of course, you could have been trailing your stops here. Maybe let's just say that, be conservative and say we didn't catch the whole move. Okay, that it sort of came up and you maybe adjusted your stops when it got above this level here. We have this sort of swing low level. Okay, so even a 10R, one trade. But look at all the candles before this. Look at this monster candle and look at all these. This is like 5, 6, 10 times more than a lot of these candles. Look at this. And then again, even if you missed it here, look, even if you missed this here, look at this one. Here's another one. Look at all these candles and then look at this one. And then it didn't break down. And if you're on the 5-minute, you probably would have seen more detail here. Okay, came back, retested again, failed to break down. There's your entry if you wanted to wait for a retest. Okay, still could have caught all of this. And then if you missed it here, well, here's another one. 3 times, 3 opportunities to get into this long here. Okay, there it is. Broke above, didn't break down, continued momentum to the north. Okay, this is it. This is so simple, right? but few. Why? Because A, they're not paying attention. B, if they are paying attention, they maybe haven't set their alerts, so they don't know what the critical levels are. Okay. But it's just being observant here. Just observing. Okay. And here probably wouldn't have been good entry because reversed immediately afterwards, did push up higher, but just kind of garbage PA in here. So you're just looking for these sorts of moves, these sorts of breakouts here. And maybe even if let's just say that 4 out of 7 times you get stopped out. So it's a minus 4R, but then you catch a 5, 6, 7, 8, 10R trade, then you're still in profit, right? So it's just knowing what works and what doesn't for you. For me, this actually works. This works for me. I'll probably make a course just for this. But some people, they have other strategies that work for them. But right now with this is these are liquidity games, and this is how they play their game. They find, and all the chop, this is all just retail and the algo is just playing around. But when there's actually a big move, that's when smart money is involved. That's when you need to be paying attention. Okay. And so I'm saying in the C3, look, now is a good time to pay attention. Sometimes I have to enter a trade and I'm not able to share it. Okay. And that's just the way it goes because it happens really quickly, or I'll share it right after the trade. Okay. But I'm doing my best to share as much as I possibly can with you all. Last cycle from top to bottom was 1424. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can look at that. I've done that. I did that, measured the bear market. I did a video on that and measured the different cycles to see where this bear market could end. I said that I think that the bear market will end sometime around the solstice in this year. Okay. But that all depends. That's all assuming that we don't have a massive black swan event. Notwithstanding a black swan event, then that's when I would expect accumulation to break, okay, and start moving into markup. And that's just based on the previous cycles. And so not quite as, if we were to end the bear market right now, then it would be shorter than the previous bear market. But so not quite as long as the 2015 bear market, but not as short as the 2018 bear market. Never before during all of cryptocurrency have we even had macro conditions like this. And so there's no way to know for sure. And I think that actually there's still too much enthusiasm in the markets. And I think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that there are a lot of people that are, maybe they're thinking like, they're still almost kind of like they were thinking back in 2020. After COVID, a lot of people made good money in the stock market. And of course, there was the stimulus, and we had several stimulus checks that came out, and people put their money in the stock market and did really, really well. And they're thinking, well, it can't get any worse. I need the money. I'm without a job, or my pay is the same and inflation is so much. I need to try. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I'm going to throw all my money in Meta or Tesla or Amazon or whatever. And then, and that's fine. That's one way to look at it. But what I'm saying is that so many people are doing that. I think Meta pumped like 7% on the news that they were slashing the VR headsets. And this was actually after several things. They announced that they were going to cut. What were they going to do? They did all kinds of things. I mean, Zuckerberg's really pulling all the strings right now just to try to prop the price up. But it's not good. This is not healthy. This is not what we want to see. It's not a sustainable run. So that's all. That's just my 2 cents on it. And part of this is technicals. Yeah. Part of it's also my intuition. And I think that if you've got to trust your own intuition. Don't trust my intuition, trust your intuition. And you've got to really tune in with yourself and know that there is a part of you that knows what's going to happen. There is a part of you that already knows. And if you believe that, you understand that you're connected to a higher power, then that's going to be a major edge for you as a trader and investor. And for me, I can tell you, if I didn't have that, if I didn't have faith in that, then I wouldn't be where I am today. And I wouldn't be able to make the money that I make. I wouldn't be able to do this full time if I didn't have that, if I didn't have access to that. And there's some traders, they're, nerdy atheists, and they think that they can make it just off the TA, and that's fine. I'm sure they can. But I believe in a higher power, and I know that it works through all of us. And I know that it influences, that it's going to give me the signals, and I'm trusting that infinite intelligence is going to guide and direct all of my financial transactions, and hopefully yours as well. And if you believe that, then it will, and it will help you to prosper, because the universe doesn't want us to go broke. The universe wants us to prosper, and that's actually written. That's divine law. We're all supposed to be abundant. We just forgot that. And so now it's the haves and the have-nots, and the haves are trying to do everything they can to keep the have-nots down as much as they possibly can. And so my job is really just to remind you that, like, it's possible to do really, really well regardless of what's happening in the markets. Like, for instance, even this little tiny range here, I scalped this on Friday and made good money. Just did a hedge long on ETH and made good money on that, because I knew how to read the chart and I knew how to read momentum. And let's actually see if we can find that. This here was the trigger. Oh, actually, I got out of this one. This one I should have wrote up. I got out of this trade at break even. But let's actually see where this happened. You notice these tests down here. They're testing the demand. Demand stepped in a big way. And if you look on the 5-minute, you'll see. So right when it gets back inside the range, the clean break back inside, here was my entry, here was my exit. Okay, that was easy. An easy trade. The trading can be easy, but you've got to be patient, because a lot of people, they're waiting and they're seeing this. Maybe they're seeing it on an hour chart or 4H, and they're thinking, oh, I've got to short this. It's just going to drop through the floor. And then all of a sudden, you'll notice on the 1-minute or 3-minute, these are 5-minute candles. Look at this one. This was a sign. This was an initial sign, but it would have been a little bit impulsive to go long. And of course, we had the next candle, the red candle. But then you see this candle actually was the reason why I started to position myself long, because it started to show signs of weakness. But then immediately, this was like a minute actually. If you drop down even lower, you'll see this is smart money. They're very secretive, right? But you can find them in the price action. You can find them in the candles of the charts. You have to hunt them down. This was smart money. Okay. And then of course, there was another attempt back down, but it didn't go back below these wicks. Okay. And it held, and then it started to hold above this swing high here. Okay. And then it broke back inside. Here's your long trigger on the 5-minute. Okay. And then looking to see, and then immediate rejection here, 5-minute candle, get out, because it already did that here. Okay. We have an established range. Swing fail. This is how you trade ranges. Okay. So I'm sort of ranting, I know, but I also know that this is helpful for some of you that are still here. Yeah, old people are investing in gold and bonds. Well, gold and bonds move slower, and it's not as, high octane. For old people, they can't really, the nerves, the jitters, the heart rate, all of it, they can't really handle it. It's stressful. But the more stress you can handle, the more of a man you are. That's what I think. The more, and it's not easy. I know it's for me, I've had days where I'm just like feeling way overexposed and like, what the hell am I doing? But also, if you can, not sweat the small stuff, cut your trades when they start to move against you, as soon as they start to move against you. And of course, that's relative too. But when you're wrong, when you're wrong, you're wrong, and you get out at the right time. Otherwise, and be humble and just see it as it's just numbers on a screen. That's all it is. That's all money is, and it's energy. and it's God's gift to humanity. It's just energy. All currency is just, it's flowing. And it can flow through you, or you can block it with your own fears and doubts and indecision. Okay, so it's just, this is the practice of being decisive and being willing to be wrong. And when you're right, trusting that you're going to be right more than you're wrong, and that's going to kind of equalize the playing field, or it's going to actually give you an edge. So I don't even care. We don't even need to think about the next bull run. Doesn't even matter. If you can trade this, you're going to be a pro. By the time the next bull run comes around, you'll be like, bull, bear, doesn't matter to me. I'm just going to trade. I'm going to long it. When I see the momentum to the upside, I'm going to short it. When I see the momentum to the downside, you know, so many people out there don't understand these basics. I mean, the best traders out there, the ones that I've seen, they hold very little, if any, spot, because they don't need to. There's no point in it. There's no point in it. Why not keep the capital freed up for that next big trade? If you really trust yourself enough, I mean, even in a bull market, people did really well in the last bull market, right? But if you caught, let's say, if you're a really good trader, then you know that you'll know exactly when you'll be able to find the point where this is breaking down, and you'll catch not only all of this move here. Notice this, the same principles apply here that I just shared with you on a 15-minute chart. This is a daily chart. Look at this candle. You see this candle? Look at all of these candles. You can't even find a candle this big in all of these candles. This is like months. Look at this. Look at it. Seriously, look at this. I mean, how long is this? How obvious? How obvious? Who's paying attention? Nobody. Few, right? How big was this candle? When can you find a candle this big? This was the last candle that was that big. Let's look and see. How long was that? 296 days. Okay. And then all of a sudden, if all you did was check the size of the daily candle and you saw, whoa, it just clean broke above that range. I'm long. Okay. And look, what happened next? You're taking profits along the way. 350%. That's for ETH. But then if you saw that candle and you look at some alts that were showing some relative strength and you went all in on those alts, guess what? You would have done a lot better. But even then, okay, so you're trading this, and a good trader is going to be able to trade this wave up, get out here, ride this down, get in here, ride this down, get in here. And of course, you're not going to catch every move. But if you add all these up, of course, it's more work. Of course, it takes more skill, more precision, but it's possible. And it's much more, actually, than if you just got in right here. Okay? It's much more. It adds up to much more. So people talk about holding spot. People talk about DCA, all this herd mentality. It's like, you can do all those things and be just fine. That's fine. But I'm a trader. I'm speaking another language here. And I'm telling you that once you know how to really short the market and how to see signs of weakness, and that's what we're seeing right now with crypto. Once you can identify these patterns, then you're unstoppable. You can trade anything. You can trade any chart anytime. It doesn't matter what it's doing. Okay? So I think those that are fixated on when the next bull run is going to happen are the ones that don't know how to short. Okay? The ones that don't see the value in it, don't see that you can actually make more money in a bear market than you can in a bull market. Okay? Or just as much. Okay? So just giving you some perspective. Smart money knows how to play both sides. They can switch teams. They don't even like to talk about bull or bear. Okay, when I say bearish, I just mean it's going down. I say bullish, it's going up. But I'm neutral. So, going up is great because it changes the sentiment. If it did this, fine, whatever. I'll cut any positions that I have, which I'm relatively flat right now, and I'll long it until it stops going up. Okay. But you be able to, you understand how the charts work. And then if we do have a black swan, you be prepared for the black swan. How do we prepare for a black swan? Well, even if we go back and actually, let's just look at Bitcoin during that black swan, because you want to, this is why studying charts sometimes for hours a day, get lost in the charts. Let it be fun for you. If it's not fun, it'll eventually become fun. If it doesn't, probably not a good idea to trade. Okay. But what did we have here? What was a sign of weakness that was indicative, it was indicating, I mean, if you're using diagonals here, there, breakdown, retest, breakdown. Okay. If you're using these swing levels here, well, it broke down from this range here. So you could have entered here, you could have entered here. Okay. And if I tune this in, if I fine tune this, we go down to the lower time frames. Let's see if it'll let me go back that far. Okay. And we know the news is coming out, and I don't know what they were talking about at this point, but there were cases of COVID, right? Okay. And it's starting to show there's a distribution pattern here. There's a range here. It's breaking down from the range. And here's your first short trigger. Here's your conservative short trigger. On this 4H, we have a strong candle here to the downside, broke clean below after this retest here. Okay. So there's your entry for a short. Okay. And then what? Then you profited all the way down potentially. Okay. Let's actually, I would have put stops up here. I mean, this would be conservative, right? Let's call that a conservative stop. And then it came down how far? I mean, probably not going to catch this, but that's a 58% move. That's 14.6 R. Somewhere down in here. Okay. 44%. That's an 11 R. Everybody else is thinking, I didn't even see it coming. I didn't see it coming. How could that have even happened? It's in the chart. It's all in the price action. And forget about the fundamentals. It's all in the price action. Bitcoin showed weakness. It gave us time. There were plenty of opportunities to make an entry here. Okay. So forget about black swans, forget about bull, forget about bear. When it happens, if you know the price action, how to read it, then you'll be prepared for anything. And that's the key to becoming smart money. Okay. And that's what the whole book is about. That's what all my courses are about. That's what all my videos are about. And I hope that you found it helpful and that you understand that this is very valuable information that I'm sharing with you. So I am going to drop off now for today. Staking, that's something that is, everybody gets to decide whether that's worth it for them. I've done it before. There's been times where, like right now with Illuvium, I would really love to sell my Illuvium, but I can't yet. A couple weeks, gotta wait. So it can help you, it can hurt you. It can help you in a bull run. That's why maybe some people would say, I want to identify the bull run. I think that over the coming years, for me personally, I'm perfectly happy not holding spot. That's my hot take on it. I'm perfectly happy not holding spot. We don't know what they're going to throw. We know that there's an agenda. Okay, anybody with a brain knows that there's an agenda against cryptocurrency. We know that it's a threat to the existing system, financial system. We know that there are some cryptos that cannot fail. Okay, they're very few in number. One of them is Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, but I will say that I will give them that Bitcoin, no matter what US regulations, if the SEC tries to say, well, everything's a security, but Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin survives. Okay. Ethereum will likely survive as well. Okay. But we have to be prepared. Okay. And the only way to prepare, remember that cash is always a position. Cash is a position. In a situation where, I had a friend, he lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the stock market last year. And he's like, what do I do? I'm like, look, you sell at the right time and you hold on to your cash and you don't worry about all the ups and downs in between, and understand that that is more beneficial than hodling and hoping for the best. Don't hope for the best. Be realistic. You can be optimistic as far as people, other people, how people will behave, the state of the world. Be optimistic about those things. Even though, of course, we have some bad eggs that are kind of ruining the show right now, most people are inherently good. Okay? Be optimistic out on the street, but when it comes to this sort of stuff, these financial markets, be realistic and understand that there's haves and there's have-nots here as well, and that those that have more are able to, they have an unfair advantage, yes, but you can outsmart even them. It's possible, and it's possible to profit and to maybe potentially become one of them at some point in the future, and to shift things in a positive direction. So always there's an underlying optimism here, but be realistic. These aren't bullish charts. This is not showing signs that we're going to see a quick reversal and a move back up to the upside here. It's just a distribution. And that's the reason they're keeping this propped up as long as possible, is to sell off the alts, is to keep the alts pumped up, to keep them at a place where they can continue to distribute them. And when they're finished with distribution, that's when it all comes down. Okay. And it looks like they're finishing up. It looks like they're wrapping up with the distribution. And you can see that on any altcoin chart. It's wrapping up here. We're getting to that point. I could be completely wrong. I'm willing to be wrong, just like I'm willing to be wrong in every trade that I make. So I hope that, hey, how's it going, guys? Some of you that joined in late, I've been going for, I don't know, it feels like over an hour now. Was this live stream helpful for you all? Did you get any valuable information? I'm sharing things that I haven't shared before. I hope that it was valuable for you. And again, if you're just joining in, or if you've been listening to this all this time, please like the video, maybe share it, maybe subscribe to the channel. And, of course, I understand there's so many YouTubers out there. It's hard to know who to trust. There's so many people shilling these various coins, and I'm one of the only ones that's not. So that's different, right? I understand. I get it. Like, it's hard to know who to trust. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust me. Just trust your own intuition. Trust your own knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, build the knowledge, take the courses. That's what it's all about. And, I will listen to other traders. I will see what they're throwing up on their charts. I'll look at the indicators they're using, and I take it all with a grain of salt. Some of it I'll find valuable, and most of it I won't. And that's part of the game. And if you're at the phase where you're really just trying to come up with your own strategy and your own set of strategies and find your rhythm, then there's going to be times where it's not really helpful to pay attention to other traders. And that's the way it goes. So awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate those of you that have stood this, have kind of like been in the trenches with me during all of this, because it got like to a point where it was just getting worse and worse. And I was debating, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Like, as a trader, I can keep going, but being public as a trader, and I'm not one of those anonymous people, like they're all like, they just like shit post all the time, and it just like, I don't know, like I follow other traders, most of them are anonymous. Not being anonymous is something that is, I've kind of struggled with at times, but also just being public. And one thing that I noticed though is that the criticism really dropped off to a minimum. And also the spam comments just stopped. And I don't know if that was YouTube that did that or what, but things are on the up and up. And I've been reading all your comments. I always read all your comments, everything you have to say. I try to read everything you put in the chat. And I'm just trying to be as most helpful as I can. But I really, really appreciate you all. And it would be great if some of you joined me in Costa Rica. I'm going to get you a discount link. But this is going to be a tremendous retreat. and I mean, there's some really beautiful women that go to these retreats. So, um, yeah, it's just like a perfect sort of reprieve. Maybe you make some good money in the C3 and you're able to put some aside. They've got different accommodations. It goes up. There's like very extravagant ones, but they're all really nice places. And I've been to this center and I've been to Nosara. Just gorgeous, gorgeous place. And these are all my friends. So some really, really good people, really positive people and conscious people. And it's not like a hippie woo woo sort of thing. It's a nice, really nice retreat. And Shazi is the founder. He's my good friend. So yes, you could bring kids. I think it's 7 days and nights. All the information's on the website, which is linked to down in the description. There's a lot of information on this, and they did a really good job. That's my friend Nadine and 𝐼𝐸𝐧. Yeah, it's really gonna be pretty spectacular, and you don't have to be like really into yoga. You can do yoga. There's gonna be sound healings, like amazing sound healers, local sound healers. Ruby is an incredible artist. You can find her on Spotify, Ruby Chase, and Equanimous is her partner. And I'm going to keep talking about this because I'm excited about it. And it'll be good for me because I've been stuck in the silent for the better part of the last 3 years, and I'm really ready for a break. And I may be trading there. I may, if enough of you come from this community and you want to really dial that in, then we can do some of that. I can pull up my laptop, but otherwise we'll just be hanging out, surfing, and getting to know each other in a different way. And I'm not the only person. There's like 12 other facilitators right now, and they're all great people. It's like one of those websites where you got to scroll the whole. So these are all the guides right now, and I'm sure he'll probably be adding more here. Yeah, the one in Maui was good, but honestly, I think that this one is going to be better just because like Bodhi Tree is a really refined center, and it's just got it like the food, everything is really dialed in, and they've got their own system. We had to sort of, it was a little bit more intensive on Maui trying to get everything organized, but Costa Rica is it's equally beautiful. And what I like about Costa Rica is that it is so peaceful. And just because they've never had a war, they've never had any, real conflict there. And it actually shows. And it's almost like I noticed for the first time when I was there that I could breathe deeper. And I really attribute that to the energy of the land and the people. So yeah, so this is sort of the other side of me that I don't really share trading, but I have my other YouTube channel too that I've been working on. And yeah, I hope that you all got some value from this stream, and share some love if you did. And if you missed the stream, definitely go back because there is a lot of information in there. And I think I'm tapped for the day. So I'm going to probably make a video for my other channel. So thank you all. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you on Wednesday.